everybody. I'm Sarah Comas, the Director of Training Education here at Offshore Wind Academy, a professional development academy focused entirely onto offshore wind. We work with top minds from all over the globe in order to deliver interactive in-person and online workshops completely focused on offshore wind with the goal of becoming the knowledge networking hub for offshore wind. This LinkedIn Live series, Ask the Expert, will grab a highly respected professional for a quick 10-15 minute chat, whatever it takes for you to enjoy your morning beverage. And today we're lucky enough to be joined by Siniša Lozo. So Siniša, hello. Small introduction on yourself.
Hello, Sarah. Thanks for having me. Yeah, my name is Siniša Lozo. I've been part of the wind industry for 7 years. I'm primarily within development, so everything from project development, market development, and industry development. Have been part of offshore wind projects globally, and also part as a consultant for policy making, so consulting government within how to develop offshore wind. Yeah.
Wonderful. Thank you. Yes, you have quite a long CV with a lot of different kinds of roles, which means that you have had the pleasure/displeasure with coming face to face with one of offshore wind's greatest threats: misinformation.
Yeah.
So, do you mind telling us a little bit about what some common misconceptions that wind faces?
Yeah, the first one is definitely, that wind turbines kills a lot of birds, which is simply not true. Bird deaths from turbines are very small or close to nothing. Compared to other causes like building, cats, hunting, traffic, and so on. Then the second one is that whales are killed by offshore wind farms or distracted, which leads them to shore, which is also not true, and that it has been documented by the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, NOAA, the agency in charge of protecting whales, has found no evidence linking offshore wind activity to whale deaths. Then, of course, we have that wind can provide energy 24/7, 365 days a year. The reality is that the intermittency or viability issue is handled through energy storage and smarter grid integration. So excess wind can be stored, especially short duration. And then, of course, we have that one of the favorites is that blades can be recycled and ruin soil if buried. So the reality here is that blade recycling is advancing fast, actually. Siemens Gamesa has already developed their recycling blades, which is available in the market. And blades are already reused in building construction, luggage production, car interiors. So it's already, a part of the circular economy. And then we have that offshore wind kills marine life in general, which is also wrong. Actually, offshore wind farms can become artificial reefs, actually creating habitats for sea life to grow. We saw the other day that Vattenfall made an excellent video together with Samuel L. Jackson, where they showed that he ate some chips from seaweed grown at one of their offshore wind farms. Then we have the one that I would say another myth is that wind energy is too expensive, which is also quite simply not true. Wind energy, especially onshore, is often cheaper than fossil fuels. The overall trend favors renewables both in Europe and China. It has simply provided, cheaper energy to the people. And we are also hoping that will be a case in the United States. So yeah, those are one of the great myths about our industry.
And what do these misconceptions do to wind? How do they help the industry, and where are they coming from?
It's definitely what they do to our industry. It's definitely something we have underestimated a lot. Disinformation is the greatest threat to our industry. It spreads fast, and I think if we don't strike back soon, its sticking power will slow the green transition even further. So we need to take it seriously. And our opponents, which is the oil and gas sector, they are already using coordinated networks. We need to match, so to say, their energy. That is essential. We need to countermatch the same energy they are providing in giving these false myths about our industry with the truth. We need to counter it with the truth and facts.
And who would be doing this? Is this going to be people in the industry? Who exactly are the ones doing this?
Well, that's a very good question, in terms of busting myths, but also be honest in addressing the bottlenecks we have in the industry. What can we do? I personally think that our politicians should be more active in countering these misconceptions. With all due respect for Ursula von der Leyen, which is a politician, a leader I respect a lot, but I must say I was disappointed the other day when she didn't, so to say, strike back when Trump said some very false things about wind energy. It was the classics that were played there. So I missed that the politicians didn't strike back there. Then, of course, I think that we as an industry should have a multi-front industry response. Be together. So we see that Siemens, Vestas, Vattenfall, Ørsted, CIP, maybe together are battling these misconceptions that are spreading and is becoming a threat to the green transition overall. One of the ways you can do that when not thinking about help from politicians is actually making some kind of monitor or response systems, having real-time listening on social media, traditional media, political statements, to simply detect emerging myths and thereby building a myth tracker, a kind of a dashboard, what, where, and in which language, and then trigger pre-crafted responses, I think could be the way forward. So a kind of myth versus reality content engine, kind of where we have ready to publish one pages, graphics, videos, short video snippets that basically counters this that are formed by our components. And I think it's not only a matter of just debunking, it's also a matter of pre-bunking, if I can say that, or said in other words, being proactive rather than reactive. So what to do there? Maybe forge alliances with local environmental NGOs, community leaders, and even local businesses to pre-attempt attacks by making wind projects part of a locally owned narrative, so to say. Because when offshore wind comes to town, it creates local jobs, it creates community benefit funds. It's a heritage preservation, so to say. It provides renaissance to industries that are in threats. For instance, in Croatia, the shipyard building could actually benefit a lot from getting offshore wind. Also in America, there are a lot of blue collar jobs that could be secured through offshore wind. So I think one should be proactive and build alliances with workers and community leaders, companies that could benefit from offshore wind. That's definitely one of the ways, I think. But also in terms of storytelling, when we are countering these myths, I think it's important that we are not providing a lot of data, a lot of study work from universities which is actually quite good, but there are a lot of people who don't have time to read it. So we need to have some kind of 30 seconds to 1 minute storytelling videos, like Vattenfall made the other day with Samuel L. Jackson. That is something the industry needs more of. I have personally tried to make, and I am making, and successful with that, a series named The Wind Strikes Back, where I collect a number of important parties in our industry, where we are addressing the myths. So we are both busting myths, but also addressing bottlenecks. We also quite honest to ourselves. There are some things we need to be better at, but most importantly, we need to bust the myths right here and now. Um, yeah, so those are definitely, that is definitely the path forward, I think. But we need the bigger players more to be a part of it. Of course, the small players like us are important. It cannot be done without us, but it can most definitely also not be done without the bigger players. So we need more stories like the other day that we saw with Vattenfall, definitely, but more a coordinated multi-front industry response rather than a company is doing it alone. You know, a single front response is not as effective as a multi-front industry response, because our opponents are, as mentioned, already using coordinated networks. They are doing it together, so we need definitely to match their energy.
Mhm. Okay, so if I can try to summarize everything that you're going over here, it sounds like there's a couple of different players here. One is from the government side, which is okay. There's a little bit of understanding that perhaps some of them are not able to fight for pro renewables for whatever reason, because maybe that they have interests, or they don't want to upset the communities that are still important for traditional energy sources. But they do need to start to stand up a little bit more to the people who are out there in the world trying to spread out this kind of misinformation. This is one piece. Another piece would be the industry. It is a bit tough because some of the developers also have traditional sources in their portfolios. So maybe this is perhaps why they're not speaking out quite so heavily. But in general, it sounds like, okay, if we kind of pull a little bit of the industry with the associations such as Wind Europe and other big players together, that we need to come together, not just to support each other, but more to create this sort of working group in a way, to be like, okay, let's really sit down, and the whole point of this working group is just to market, just to work on misinformation. Like the move with Samuel L. Jackson was brilliant because it really ties like the everyday person into the offshore wind story. So this was a really great move, and hopefully it's not the last that we'll see something of that. And then there's the normal person, which is us on an individual level, in our day-to-day. It could be our friends and family, just someone in the community that has been positively impacted or negatively impacted by wind. And I suppose those people, what they can do to fight misinformation is to go to these meetings. Whenever these meetings appear for the new projects that are coming into the community, they should go, because the naysayers to wind, typically they go. They're very fired up because of social media. They've been brought up to a very high, angry, fear level. We need to show up and show our support for wind. They're not the negative side of wind is not the only voice that's going to be allowed in the room. And then just to have a conversation, engage in conversation with people that think different than you, go with empathy, and then hopefully we'll have this nice website or something. They can show clips of your Wind Strikes Back series, and just hopefully start to change people's minds with these little misconceptions. How does it sound for a nice overview of what you were talking about? Did I miss anything?
No, I think that was splendid. Thank you, Sarah. And yeah, it's important for me to emphasize that we only need to match their energy. We don't need to attack, because I mean, the truth is on our side. Our industry is not only saving the planet, it's also providing cheaper energy to the population. It also protects nature and animals. I think we just need to match their energy and don't attack. We just need to match the energy.
I think that's a beautiful way to wrap it up. Thank you, Siniša, very much for coming with us today. And please check out his series, Wind Strikes Back. You can find it on LinkedIn, correct? This is the spot, right?
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank
Thanks,
you very
Sarah, for having me.
much.